Hello everyone. I'm gonna be doing this kind of videos. Basically, I'm gonna be explaining what I'm learning on the React course. First of all, I'm going to show you what's being built through the course. Then I'm going to explain the concepts that I'm learning as well as the syntax itself. So as you can see, here's the website itself. It's using React, so essentially it is far better to the eye. The quality is higher than regular HTML, JavaScript, and CSS websites, and most importantly, it runs faster. So you can see there are a couple of components that we can use over here, and I'm going to explain the very same code. So we've got the app.jsx file, which contains all the important components and essentially all the data related to the output to the user itself. So we've got a method app, which is the one that we've got a function. We've got a function app that contains all the information regarding the output to the website itself, and it has multiple functions and a return. Actually, we've got only the handle select function, and we've got a return which outputs all the information that we want to output itself. So as you can see, we've got the core concept component, we've got the tab button component, which allows us to obtain the information that we want to get. First of all, from the core concept variable, as you can see, we've got a file data.js, which is this one. And as you can see, there is a variable called core_concepts, which basically allows us to output a specific value depending on the position of the array itself. So if we want to use the image components image and the title components and the description, we've got to use core concepts square brackets 0, right? So essentially that's what we've got over here. On app.jsx, we've got the core concept, and inside the self-closing component, we've got the information for each one of those values. We've got the title, description, and image, and in dynamic outputted values, we've got the core concepts and the position of the array and the value that we're looking for, and that is shown in the very same website as we see the components, the image, and the explanation, the description. At the same moment, we've got the tab button components, which allows us to use through a menu on the section with ID examples different components for each one of those components themselves. Now we can see that on the tags themselves, we've got the components JSX, props, and state, and these in the specific tab button component, we've got the export default function tab button, which is the function itself that is handling the button logic. We've got two different parameters, which are children and onClick. What happens is that when we've got two parameters or more, we've got what it's called a destructuring assignment, which basically allows us to use the parameters themselves as independent variables, such it is that we've got the children and we've got the onClick. And the children, you can see that on the button, it is on the button itself, and it is, as you can see, as it is with the brackets, it is dynamically outputted. So essentially, when we've got the dynamically outputted children, we've got the capability to output the value that we want on the specific button itself. So we can see that on the app.jsx. Generally speaking, it's actually app.js. Nevertheless, to learn the syntax and the basic concepts, we're going to be using app.jsx. We can see that for each one of the tab buttons, there is the specific value that we want to output on the components, JSX, props, and state. And we've got on tab button the function handle click, which is dynamically outputted on handle click with the syntax on click. So basically it tells us when the button is clicked, execute handle click. And handle click, basically it runs on the console hello world. So we've got over here the very same purpose for that tab button, and when it's selected, it outputs the handle select, which is this other function. So if we run this and we try to click one of these, I'm going to open this. You can see here on the console that if I click this, it outputs hello world. So it appropriately executes the function. The essential thing that I would like to mention about using components is that, first of all, it's reusable. All the code is on one single file. We don't have to create multiple HTML, CSS, JavaScript files as previously built websites were using those files, but rather only using one single file to output all of the information required. And also we've got the very same purpose of reusing the components every time that we want. So for example, there are websites that, for example, for e-commerce, they use multiple components, which are essentially the exact same thing, a product that is being offered, and we don't have to create a div and an object for every single product, but rather using this type of syntax and these methods to obtain the most accurate, the fastest, most reliable products that we want to build. So essentially that's what I'm learning at this point. There are other details that I would like to explain. Nevertheless, these are the basic core concepts that I wanted to discuss about. It was a pleasure, and next time that I want to explain something, I'll let you all know. Goodbye.